Hey guys, just wanted to give you an update on where the Land Cruiser is living currently. Fortunate enough to have this really cool hangar space to work on it so that we're not outside in the extreme cold. As when we started on this project, it was about minus 28 to dipping into minus 30. But anyway, here we go. Got everything here. Just do a quick walk around. Kind of show where we're at with everything, talk about the challenges that we've had so far in putting this back together. I did do some research and stuff before, obviously buying it as far as, parts and stuff like that. Underestimated a little bit of what I needed as far as replacement parts go. And then I learned a valuable lesson also, apparently, in the Land Cruiser world. Sometimes stuff is just tricky to come by. But anyhow, kind of dive into this a little bit and see what you guys think and how much more of this you guys want. So we'll kind of start over here. Initially, you guys saw in the first video, them loading the car and everything like that. Kind of saw how that tire was cambered in at the top. And initially, when we looked at the videos, going to be honest with you, I ran them through AI and stuff like that. I obviously looked at them myself, and neither of us caught it. We thought it was kind of how the picture was taken, and that they might have had the wheels turned a little bit in it. But anyway, what happened here was we got I got a new ball joint pressed in, thanks to the guys at O'Reilly's Auto Parts in Palmer. Got a press kit from them, got that installed, so that's new. We got to replace this steering rack. Starting off at the front here, because this is pretty much our main issues. You can kind of see where it shifted in the mounts. And if I bring the light over here, I'm trying to get the angle with the phone, you can see where that fitting is bent. And I don't know if I can zoom in on it. But anyway, in that fitting is a little crack there. And with the pressure, it expanded and, of course, poured out all the power steering fluid everywhere. So we had to reorder that. But before we could even get into the rack, we had to deal with some tool challenges up here. Leads me into this massive set of wrenches that I had to buy because I needed a number 30. And in the video that I initially watched, said that I needed a 25 and a 27 millimeter wrench to complete this job. And I go down to Napa, and of course they don't have the wrenches that I need. So they order them, and they order me a 25. There's that 25. I returned the 27 because obviously it didn't fit. And then I got that other kit. Get back all excited once they get the wrenches like a day later, because they had them down in Anchorage. And get back here and only the 25 fits. And then I'm like, okay, well, guy probably misspoke. It's maybe like a 27 or a 28. Well, those wrenches were down in Seattle. And in hindsight, I probably should have just measured stuff. But I wanted to get it done, and I was in a little bit of a rush. So anyway, got these 28 and 29 millimeter wrenches. Obviously, they don't work. So then I've got to try and track down 30 millimeter wrenches. I called pretty much everybody from Granger all the way down to like 4 Snap-on guys down in Anchorage, Napa. Everybody couldn't obviously find any of these pieces and wrenches that I needed. So eventually, thanks to a Facebook post in another group, we've got a place up in Fairbanks called Alaska Discount Tool, and he had a set of the wrenches here, and that's what you see laying out over the floor here. The other issue that we have here is I'm not a mechanic, but I just like to dive into stuff sometimes, and I don't know how to tell if this was bent. You can see where it kind of took a shock in the collision. So anyway, on part of it, you can see where it was took a shock, and it doesn't look bent. It looks pretty much the same as all the other ones, or the other one rather. But we're going to replace that just to be safe. There's a project car or a parts car over somewhat local that has one, but when I went to pull it the other day, the other wheel is frozen into the ground, and I couldn't spin the rotors to get the big impact in there to get the caliper off. So gonna have to kind of figure that one out as far as how I get that other wheel unfrozen out of the ground so that I can pull this safely without the car slipping, because there's a lot of frost on the frame, and it was just making the jacks a little sketch. So abandon that for the day. Here's our initial ball joint, lower ball joint that we replaced. You can see it just kind of, it's really quite floppy. It's broken somewhere in there. Again, I'm not a mechanic. I know it's broken. I think the upper one is fine. I'm not, from the research that I did, I should be able to move it pretty simply like this. It doesn't feel like it's catching or anything like that. And it also doesn't feel like it's extremely loose or anything. So I think that one's good for now. So we're pretty much looking at, getting that steering rack out. And then this should be back on the road after that. It was actually really well maintained through the power of Facebook. I was able to find the guy that previously owned this, and he had it for about 10 years, and seems like a super nice guy. And he did a lot of work to it, It's got obviously all the bumpers and stuff already on it. It's got Old Man Emu lift kit, diff drops, pretty, upper control arms in the front, pretty much, everything you need to really go have some fun out here in Alaska. And do some overlanding, see what we get into with this thing. Eventually down the road, we'll see how far this little pet project goes. We'll throw some air lockers and stuff in it. And this thing will be quite the beast. But anyhow, we got some, this is my spare parts here from when I cleaned it out, just to make the interior look a little nicer while I'm working on it, so that doesn't bother me. Need to figure out, it's got these great WeatherTech mats that came with it, but they're a little bit bent up. Guessing that I can probably just straighten those out with a heat gun and maybe some weights. But also you can see here, we got the fender pounded out, at least to be used for the time being, because turns out, even though you search these online with the molding and stuff like that, they're not available readily unless you pay a lot of money for them. So, if I was to get a new one from Toyota, it's going to be about $1,500 to get it up here. And that's, obviously before it's painted and everything like that. And honestly, I'm inclined just to kind of call this good enough for now, ride around with it, check it out, get it rolling, see what we can do kind of thing from there. We got the back, obviously. Everything works. This door needs a little bit of an adjustment. It drops down a little bit, but I think that's probably just like one of the nuts on the in the front there. So we'll try to tighten that up at some point down the road. But other than that, all the windows work, even the back vent ones. The sunroof works. I'm not gonna lie, they're not the strongest, but it's also a 20-some-year-old car. Seat heaters, unfortunately, kind of critical up here. They're very weak, so at some point, I figure I'll update those. But anyway, it's got about 241,000 miles on it, just over. It's been, as I said, really well maintained outside of the fact that, accidents happen and things like that. I was really gung-ho to put a new timing kit in here because I'd actually done one last year on a 2UZ, and that went well, considering where that project kind of started too. Probably should have videoed that, but anyway, this one was last done at 175, so I'm not really too worried about that at the present moment. We've got a lot of life left in there. And again, with talking with the other owner and stuff like that, and just knowing the care and maintenance that he put into it, you know, really kind of goes to show that it was well cared for, and that we got a, honestly, in my opinion, a really great vehicle. Again, we'll do kind of some shots of the underside here. You can see, you know, even being up here in Alaska, there's not a whole lot of frame rust or anything like that, which is normally a pretty big issue with these. You know, we've obviously got spots, you know, but nothing where it is eating through anything. Sorry, I'm not used to taking videos. I think our only other problem area with rust is the typical spots on these from what I've read. It's around these weep holes here, and even that is not terrible. Yeah, scuff that up, a little rust inhibitor, and reshoot it with some paint, and I think that that's going to be fine. So what else do we got here? I got the steering rack here, and I went with an OEM Toyota one, and huge thanks to the guys down at Gettle Toyota in Florida. They actually shipped this all the way from Florida up to the valley here in Alaska. And let me tell you something, it was the best price that I think I or anybody could have gotten at the time. These are normally around $1,000 list price. I fortunately ordered it during a time that Toyota was running some discounts, the dealer was running some discounts, and on top of that, Toyota was also offering free shipping, even to Alaska. Yes, free shipping, even all the way up here. And I had it, thanks to UPS, in about a little bit shorter time period than expected, although it's taken me a little bit longer to get it in because of some other tool challenges and things like that. But anyway, yeah, you know, pretty much paid $603.94 for it after all the discounts and stuff like that. So I cannot argue with that deal. It's basically the cost of like an ASIN one. So got OEM on that. That's going to be going in once we get these jam nuts off that you saw in the other video. These things are just absolutely stuck. I have hit them with penetrating oil. I've tried talking nicely to them. I've created all sorts of creative leverage. This little propane guy, I don't think has the oomph to really heat it up enough to get them off. So I should be able to slide the rack out with them on, or at least I'm hoping, so that then I can go get an oxyacetylene torch, rather find somebody that has one that's willing to let me use it for 2 bolts to get them off, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, it's going to take me about 2 weeks to get new jam nuts for this up here, and to be quite honest with you, I really don't feel like waiting that long, and there's some other stuff that I was trying to get out to do, you know, before then. Obviously, you know, maybe film some content if this is stuff that you guys like, and, you know, see where this channel potentially goes in the future. Last big thing that we are working on currently is tripping over a cord. Or rather, not big working on, but our tool dilemmas. Getting into the hubs and stuff like that to get the brakes off. You got these 2 bolts in this locking pin here. Yeah, I didn't have a 54 millimeter. The terminology that the video said was wrong, but the Snap-on guys understood what I meant when I called them looking for this, because they were kind of like last resort. No Napa, no AutoZone, no O'Reilly's, CarQuest, Granger, nobody had this thing. This is the only one in Alaska right now that I'm aware of until Snap-on mat in Anchorage refills his truck. So anyway, took me about 2.5 hours of looking online, making a lot of phone calls, another hour to drive to Anchorage and obviously back. So about 4 hours invested in finding this thing. And once I put it on the drill, actually after another trip to Napa, because, you know, we needed this little adapter here because this is 3/4 and that's a half. So even when I did that, so let's say like 2 hours and 30 minutes because I had to go get another part. But anyway, took me 45 seconds literally once I got the proper tools and stuff like that. But just kind of further goes to show a little bit of the challenge up here. It's not always as simple as, oh, you need this and you run down to the auto parts store. It's, hey, I don't have this and it's going to take a week to get here. So, you know, kind of some of the things that we're learning with on this. Again, you know, like I had to get a turn signal here for this. You know, we're talking, what, something the size of my hand, you know. Guy doesn't ship it from California to Alaska. So we had to ship it to Las Vegas, and somebody's going to receive it in Las Vegas, and then it's going to be forwarded up to us here so that I can have a turn signal. Last thing, kind of update on this before we just kind of call it quits with this video, is these lights. They don't work. I don't know even how to get them apart, honestly. The only bolt that I've been able to find on them is this one down here, but that's clearly where they mount. We've got like some drain plugs and stuff on them, and obviously this cord where this goes in, but there's no discernible way to open these. So I've done some wire tracing. I've checked the fuses and stuff like that in here. I've checked the cab, the switch in the cab. I've got no idea on that. There's probably a fair amount of little electrical things I'm going to do to this, you know, upgrade some lights and stuff like that, and just tidy it up over the course of the project here, and just course of having the car here. But anyway, if you made it this far, thank you. And hopefully we'll be making some more cool stuff here in the future.